Okay, so here are my thoughts about the Batwoman casting. I've been reading some tweets about anger and pushback against Ruby Rose being cast, and I can't for the life of me understand why. As I've said many times and will continue to say as long as it's true, we have long passed a point of rationality in many corners of fandom. People are now hating because they get off on hating, angry just for the sake of being angry. Yeah, I'm not wasting my life on stuff like that. Next. This Batwoman casting is an example of what not being tone deaf looks like. There has been much desire expressed among fans to no longer have characters race bent or sexually bent. Is that a phrase? It is now. And I, for one, am rarely a fan of gender bending too. I wrote that in my article, I linked it below. So now we have an actress that is a lesbian herself playing a lesbian character. See, with a character like Kate Kane / Batwoman, who she is in all aspects of her character have been front and center pretty much from panel 1 when she was reintroduced in 2006. If you didn't know, this is the second incarnation of the character. The original Batwoman was introduced in Detective Comics number 233 in 1956, ironically as a love interest for Batman because there was too much speculation that Batman might be gay. It was because of a book released in 1954 entitled The Seduction of the Innocent, where basically, as always, comics were blasted for corrupting youth by introducing intense adult themes under the banner of costume superheroes. They thought Batman's relationship to Robin was way shady, not a new argument at all. This was also one of the main books that led to the creation of the Comics Code Authority. So when they brought Batwoman back this time in 2006, she was ex-military, Jewish, an open lesbian, and the highest profile gay character to date in DC Comics. Everything was front and center in an effort to create a new level of diversity in mainstream comics. Now you know exactly what I'm going to say next, don't you? And here it is. If they're going to this much trouble to get Batwoman right, why don't they do that every time? Ugh, I can't stand it. And by I can't stand it, I mean this selective attention to detail when translating characters from book to screen. Why don't all our characters get this kind of treatment? I get that they want to be sensitive to the mistakes that were made with Scarlett Johansson. They used her to whitewash an Asian character for 2017's Ghost in the Shell, and there was a lot of pushback on that. That wasn't the first time such a thing has happened, though. See Ursula K. Le Guin's extremely whitewashed version of Earthsea. Ursula was so unhappy about that, she wrote her own article blasting it. Then there was pushback when it was announced that ScarJo would be playing Dante Gill, who was transgender in the movie Rub and Tug. She quickly dropped that role, acknowledging that she understood why the transgender community wanted an actual transgender person to play a transgender character. So again, I get that the tone deafness over these kinds of castings is something they're attempting to address with the casting of Ruby Rose as Kate Kane. But let me point out a few things to you. Jason Momoa, he is not Arthur Curry, by a long shot. He's a better on-screen representation of Poseidon, and the DC character he was born to play is Lobo. He even looks like Lobo with no makeup on. Jesse Eisenberg, in no universe is that an accurate representation of Lex Luthor. I know that many people have said he'd make a better Riddler, but after watching that disgusting candy in the mouth scene, know who he's a spot-on ringer for? That would be Toyman. On the Marvel side, they're much better with their castings, but only when Marvel Studios actually owns the properties. No way Halle Berry has ever been a convincing Aurora Monroe. And this in the same franchise that they got the 100% spot-on movie version of Nightcrawler with Alan Cumming so right, it makes my brain explode with geekish glee. And they're making the same Halle Berry type mistake with Sophie Turner. Even though Sophie's a ginger and popular, being on Game of Thrones doesn't make us want to watch the movie more with her as Jean. Sophie Turner is also a much better representation of Rachel Summers than Jean Grey. and we have not been with Sophie as Jean long enough for the upcoming Dark Phoenix movie to have the emotional punch that it needs to. And I'm not even going to get started on the Fantastic Four movies. It's like they made those as case studies and cautionary tales of everything you shouldn't do in a superhero movie. Ugh. Bringing this back to Batwoman, what I'm saying is that I want this same attention to detail brought to bear every time they cast a character, not just sometimes. They want to get Kate Kane right. I'm with you. They ought to want to get all of the characters right. In terms of her costume, there's been a question about that. But see, the whole thing with the Bat family, it's not just their costumes, it's presence. Batman and his offspring are about presence. Bruce's whole point for creating the Bat motif was to scare criminals and keep them scared even when he wasn't around. So Kate's costume with that incredible striking black and red is going to have to be a part of an overall attempt at giving her that presence. If it's too bright, or she's presented as just too silly, it's going to look garish, no matter how well made it is. And we'll all be having flashbacks of Alicia Silverstone in 1997's Batman and Robin. No thank you. I think the CW can bring her to life, but as I say all the time, she's going to need her own motivation. She's a spin-off character, and the Bat motif is Bruce's idea, not hers. I get who she is in the comics, but what will drive her in the Arrowverse? Will she lean towards the sassier interpretation of Yvonne Craig's Batgirl? Or is she going to be darker and more brooding like Stephen Amell's Oliver Queen? That's what's going to make the difference, not just her being comics accurate in her sexuality. So as always, I'm in wait-and-see mode. If every appearance is about her being a lesbian, she will quickly become extremely boring. She's got to bring something to the screen that we haven't seen in the Arrowverse yet. We'll see. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell to know when new videos drop.